The SCP Foundation keeps monsters, anomalies, and even worse things locked. We are the Global Occult Coalition. We work towards our five-fold goal of education, destruction, protection, concealment, survival. We are going to expose those maniacs and their experiments, and we are going to rid the world of threats to our society, our life, and even our existence. I am exposing myself with these recordings, so I will stay anonymous, in order for you to know the truth. I am by Rostris Anonymous. We are the G.O.C, and you are about to know.
Heads up, agents. Today we will talk about an anomaly in which the errors of the SCP Foundation are highlighted. The limitless hunger for knowledge and power of the Foundation has clouded their basic principles of common sense and morality. I warn you that the next document deals with a case of animal abuse that, although cruel, is vital in order to shed light about the abusive and cruel methods used by the Foundation on a daily basis. Methods to which the Coalition will put an end eventually. Item number SCP-042. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-042 is currently housed within Minimum Security Paddock number 12 at Bioresearch Area 32. Despite SCP-042's seeming disinclination to attempt escape at this point, security measures must still be maintained at all times. Previous attempts to maintain the health of the ground covering Paddock 12 have failed to date. Despite regular watering, SCP-042's presence leaves the ground parched wherever it treads. As it has not been determined what happens to added water, the program of watering has been discontinued as unnecessary and potentially hazardous to the local water table. Monitoring of local well levels and sampling of the area's water is to be carried out on a weekly basis. Personnel interacting with SCP-042, including any handlers, medical personnel, feeders, and custodial staff, must submit to a thorough research, including prior to entrance into Paddock 12. Any personnel attempting to smuggle a weapon or an object which can be used as a weapon is to be immediately. Personnel are to undergo psychological screening once per week after interacting in any way with SCP-042. Medical personnel examining the wounds on SCP-042's back are to be closely monitored at all times, lest they attempt to euthanize SCP-042. Description: SCP-042 is an animal believed to be a member of the genus G.O.C. Its coat is white in color, with some small brown spotting. It stands at 183 centimeters, 18 hands, to its withers and weighs 710 kilograms. Its weight has dropped significantly since it has been in Foundation custody, due to both atrophy from lack of physical activity and refusal to eat. The liquid nutrient diet forcibly administered keeps it alive, but it remains emaciated and weak. SCP-042 exhibits two large bone protrusions from its back, linked to powerful musculature, now atrophied, throughout its back. These bones end at 37 centimeters from the surface of its back, and they protrude from the skin at open, ragged wounds. To date, no healing has been observed of these wounds, though some clothing must be taking place for SCP-042 to have not bled out. SCP-042 exhibits a listless demeanor and has been unresponsive to any attempt by skilled handlers to incite activity. If allowed to do so, SCP-042 will lay down on the ground immobile, not moving to eat, drink, or relieve itself. Pain response conditioning has been proved somewhat effective in getting SCP-042 to rise so that it can be cleaned, but eventually it will attempt to lay down again, no matter the strength of the shock administered, even to the point of losing consciousness. Researchers are divided as to SCP-042's level of intelligence. While some believe that it's simply an animal and knows more than other of its genus, others have come to believe that it may in fact be sapient. It has been shown to make eye contact with persons entering Paddock 12. most of whom describe its looks as bleeding. SCP-42 has been involved in accidents on multiple occasions, where it has been injured on pieces of equipment or its enclosure, which those arguing for intelligence believe to have been intentionally caused by SCP-42. Addendum: a request was submitted by Dr. to transfer SCP-42 to Bio Research Area 4 on 19, which was approved by 055. Dr. altered transportation documents to indicate that SCP-42 was to be airlifted rather than transported by armed convoy. During transit, Dr. overpowered the pilot of the transport aircraft and took the controls, plunging the craft into a steep dive. Passengers and cargo experienced nearly a minute of weightlessness before security personnel regained control of the aircraft and leveled up. As Dr. was being bound and the plane landed, SCP-42 broke free of containment and kicked 2 security personnel to death in the cargo area. Cargo bay security footage shows that after this point, SCP-42 approached Dr. and touched its muzzle to his face. Dr. exhibited signs of euphoria while contact was maintained, but when additional security personnel subdued SCP-42 with tranquilizer darts and contact was broken, he collapsed in a catatonic state from which he did not recover. After a hearing concerning his actions, Dr. was euthanized while under Foundation medical care on 19. End log. Outrageous. Treating people as disposable tools is not enough for them. They are also torturing animals and keeping them in pain. SCP-42 is indeed an anomaly, but it is also a living being capable to feel and suffer. If their plans were to study its anomalous properties over vegetation and human psyche, they could at least have relieved the subject from its suffering beforehand. The document also conveniently omits how SCP-42 lost his wings. I have no doubts that the so-called scientists of the Foundation were responsible for their removal in order to keep it contained more easily. We at the G.O.C. are trying to conceal and destroy anomalies in order to maintain normalcy. We have eliminated creatures that can be considered harmless, yes, but we always do this in the most efficient and humane way. The Coalition would never take part in the barbaric methods observed here by the SCP Foundation to achieve our goals, but the Foundation only cares about their objectives, and supposedly about scientific progress for humanity, no matter the cost. Nevertheless, instances such as this one make me doubt about how much humanity is left in the ranks of the SCP Foundation. Let this be a lesson, agents. Ours is a complicated task. The thin line between the necessary and the inhuman is very easy to cross. Let us learn about the mistakes of others and advance towards a future that is worth protecting, where we can be proud to educate, and in which we can be satisfied to have survived. I am Virus Trisanonimo. We are the G.O.C. and you have been informed.